Hi guys, this is Jeff at Slavens. This video is about the reeds in your KTM 350, 450, or 500. So from the factory, they have reeds like this, right in front of the air filter. And they sit right in this air boot, right in here, right in front of the air filter. So the air filter's here, and the reeds are right in front of it. So if you pull your air filter out, you can see them in there. And that's what they look like. They're the same reeds that come out of the two-strokes, out of the 150, 250, and 300 two-strokes. So this reed is the same as this. It's just these are mounted. You can see with these screw holes here, they're mounted onto a mounting block to mount them on a two-stroke engine. On these, they just push them inside that intake manifold, and they actually, there's a little rubber ring around there and silicone seal, and that's all that holds them in. So you can get them out pretty easily. And guys will ask all the time, well, you know, they get a new bike and you know, it doesn't run so well because it's plugged up from the factory. It's the EXC-F models and the FE501S and 350S model Huskies. You know, they've got a screening back here. It's basically kind of like a plate with holes drilled into it. It's a lot thicker than a screen. And it really restricts the airflow, makes the bike super quiet, which was their intent, to make it past the government regulations. This is an EXC-F model, and you can see I already took that piece out of there. It just took me like less than 5 minutes, and I popped it out. And then I put a different ECU in it. This one's got a name ECU. That one's got a get ECU. They both run exceptionally well. But the question is, reeds or no reeds? All right, so the bike on the left here, my bike, has no reeds. This bike has the reeds, as does one of my buddies, one of my main riding buddies. He kept his reeds in, and we did some testing a while back on it. My bike definitely has more horsepower. It pulls harder, especially, well, pretty much everywhere, but not by a lot. I mean, this bike with the reeds in it runs exceptionally well. It's very strong. It's more horsepower than most people need. I'd say it's plenty for 90+% of the population that rides one of these bikes. And this bike is quieter, is the nice thing, and it's got smoother power delivery. So with the reeds in, the testing that we did wasn't so much about the noise, although we like to keep them quiet. It was the power delivery and technical terrain, slippery, you know, dry slick conditions, wet slick conditions, really rocky technical sections, step-ups, all that kind of stuff. And the one with the reeds still in it is actually easier to ride. It's easier to get through those sections. It's definitely less prone to flaming out, and it's just a more controllable, more rideable bike, more user-friendly, and you still have plenty of horsepower. In stock form with the screen in the back, I think they're pretty wimpy. But remove the screen, add an ECU, then you've got a really nice running bike, and I might even put the reeds back in my bike, I don't know. I probably won't, because I ride it just mainly dual sport. So, and then dual sport in Colorado is primarily Jeep roads, gravel roads, that type of stuff. So you're in the upper gears most of the time. There's nothing technical about it really, maybe every once in a while. But for dual sport, I still think that you know, you can go either way because it doesn't matter. But if you're riding trails, I think with the reeds in is actually a better option. Like I said, we did testing on that, and we were just testing rideability, not sound or anything else, but just rideability, how easy it was to ride through a gnarly section. And the one with the reeds is definitely easier to ride. And guys ask us that constantly. It's almost a daily phone call. So, and also we've had a couple guys where the reeds actually came loose inside there. They pulled the filter out to service it, and their reeds were falling out. It's not a big deal. It doesn't cause a problem because they're going to fall in towards the filter, not towards the motor. They can't get into the motor. They're too big. But if you have that happen, you want to retain the reeds, well then just re-silicone and seal them back in there. It's no big deal. All right, so I wanted to show you and let you listen to the two bikes a little bit here. Start it up here. Okay, that's the one with the reeds. Let me put these in my pocket. Alright, as you can tell, my bike is louder. Has the exact same muffler. It's a low mileage bike. The muffler's not burnt out or anything. It sounds the way it did when it was new. It's the same muffler. This is an XCF-W model, so it did not come with that screen in the back, but the only difference is that the XCF models do have the screen, as well as the 501S and 350S. So I'd say always pop the screen out if you want your bike to run right. But if you're wanting quiet and smooth power delivery, with the reeds installed is the best way to go. Like I mentioned before, my bike does have a little more horsepower than this one, but they both have plenty. I mean, absolutely plenty. I'm an upper level rider, and with this reeds in there, it still has plenty of horsepower to do everything I want it to do. It is still ripped down the road at any speed I want to go, down the trail, wherever. So if your goal is quiet, smooth power delivery, more user-friendly, easier to ride, leave the reeds in. Still needs to have an ECU put in it. The ECU is the key to make the bikes run cooler because they're too lean from the factory, so the ECU richens them up. Has a better map curve, timing curve, that type of stuff. So highly recommend going with one of the ECUs, the Vortex, the AIM, or the GET. They're all good. They're all excellent, actually. The Vortexes are extremely hard to get. The AIMs, we've got plenty of them in stock, as well as the GETs. But, you know, when I had them both running, I'll just do it here again. So when I put my hand behind that muffler like that, there's definitely more air coming out of this one. Definitely more air coming out, which makes total sense. There's more air going in, so there's going to be more air coming out, which is going to make the muffler louder, the intake noises louder, and it'll give you a little more horsepower. But I really like the quieter one myself. Quiet bikes help keep our trails open. I'm not a fan of the mufflers with a great big hole in the back of them that are extremely loud. That's fine for racing like Baja or whatever. But for trail riding, quieter bikes are the way to go. It's not as offensive to other trail users. It's not as offensive to me as another motorcycle rider. I won't even ride with guys who have loud bikes. I just won't do it. If somebody asks if they can ride with me, one of my first questions is what's your bike and what kind of muffler's on there. So I don't ride with guys with loud pipes. There's no advantage to them on a trail, absolutely no advantage whatsoever. There's actually some disadvantage because the pipes with the big holes in the back don't have as much low end as these do. They're jerky on the bottom, more of a hard hit. Yada, yada, yada. It's not the way to go. So, all right, guys, to wrap this up, I'd say for those of you who want to know reeds or no reeds, I'd stick with the reeds. leave them in there. KTM put them in there for sound reduction to pass the government standards, and it's worked out to be a bonus. I think the bikes also start slightly better with the reeds in there. They idle better when they're cold. And overall, I think it's just a better way to go. But, you know, if your goal is big horsepower, well then open everything up. You know, if you want to drag race your buddies or whatever your end game is, that's up to you. But quiet is what I prefer. Hopefully most of you out there feel the same way. And I hope to see you out on the trails, guys. Please like us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a shout out when you can. And we'd appreciate your business. So throw us a bone once in a while. And hopefully I'll see you out on the trail. Get out for some throttle therapy. That's all for now.